Hey there, this is Malorian, and this is going to be a Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report. And it's going to be 5,000 points, and if you might remember, I just did a 5,000 point game a little while ago, and it was the same thing. Orcs versus vampire counts. Really, he had some mistakes in his list where his characters were mounted, and so I could snipe them, killed his general, and things really went downhill from there. So he wanted a rematch. So I kind of assumed we weren't going to keep the same list because he probably wanted to change that list there, and so I decided to change too. Now, keep in mind, there was the chance that he might change army as well, but I decided, I have some little covers here, but I'll cover that in a second. I decided to base this army around a Gorbad army. So Gorbad is pretty awesome. He's leadership 10. He's also your BSB. He has a range of 18 inches. And the nice thing here is that if he's vampires, I don't need to worry about cannons. And if he does take, say, ogres, then I can just place this bunker here, which is really just 5 wolves. That's all I have. The bunker will go behind the trolls, which will be fairly safe. Anyway, should be pretty interesting because almost all my army will be biggins. On his side here, he doesn't have the model for it, but he is going to be using the evil Manfred. And Manfred is like the bane of orcs and goblins because, first of all, usually because most of your army is either initiative 2 or initiative 1, Purple Sun really sucks. He also has all the death magic to try killing off your characters, and once your characters are dead, your low leadership stuff is in trouble, and you can really get a lot of magic going with him if you have the right support. So definitely something very scary, and worse yet, as you can see here, it's inside a tower, so good luck for me trying to kill him. Otherwise, from my deployment from right to left is going to be the Black Orcs. It's going to be 2 Doom Divers, 2 Rock Lubbas. You already saw my bunker. In the Black Orcs is going to be my Shaman, the level 4. The 50 Orc Biggins with shields, they're actually facing the right way. You can see the other model showing where the corner should be. It's just those rocks there. Don't let you really place it. I have my Horde of Trolls. Then I'm going to be having 2 Wyvern War Bosses, so these guys should be a lot of fun. Giant number 1, I have another unit of 50 Biggins with shields in the building. I have 2 more units of Wolves. And then on this side, I have Giant number 2, and then also my Savage Orc Biggins and some more regular Orc Biggins with 2 Choppas. Now on his side here, from left to right, he's going to be having some zombies, a big huge block of them. Then he's going to have some wolves, he has some skeletons, hex wraiths, 2 Terrorgeist there, but he's also going to have this big huge bust of the Black Knights. So there is a bunch of them, but there's also 4 vampires and a vampire lord in that unit. And yeah, that is a very dangerous unit. Otherwise, you can see a corpse cart sticking its head out behind the building. There's the skeletons with the characters inside the building. You can see he has a 3rd Terrorgeist, which is kind of proxying, but, you know, it's a 5,000 point game, so it's a Grand Army. Then he's going to have this skeleton unit here, and I believe there's also supposed to be another rank behind them. It's actually 60, not 50, so we just have dice back there. There's a Spirit Host, more Hounds, and then 2 more units of zombies over here. So we're playing on an 8x4 board, just like last time. We got actually a good amount of terrain. So there's a river on the left side, a sphinx, a hill, a Tower of Blood in the center, 2 different buildings, and then a couple of forests to the right where their magical mystery thing won't really matter. Really, his list is way better than last time. I can't just be picking off his guys. He has a very strong magic phase. He has all those vampires. He has Manfred. He has another level 4 necromancer. I seem to think that maybe there's another necromancer. I actually have his list, so you guys would have seen it scrolling down before. But all those Terrorgeists will be really scary. Yeah, this is going to be kind of something I have to be really careful with. And as well, he out-deployed me. So I had all my fast cav down before I knew where his knights were going to be. And yeah, that's really bad. And as well, even though I deployed everything first, whereas last time he did, and I stole basically initiative by rolling higher than him, even when he got the +1, this time he beat me. So we have some vanguards here that happened before we figured out who's going first. And really it's just his hex rates and dogs coming up, which will be basically blocking in my fast cav. And then we're going to be jumping right into it. So he's going to be going for Flame Cage onto the Trolls here. That's kind of okay because I can take the few hits. I'll stop it on my turn. And then really, because I have the range advantage, I'm fine sitting back for a turn anyway. Otherwise, he doesn't get off too much more with his magic or shooting, of course, and so most of it's just this little bit. This is a little slight advance. Now, one of the mistakes he made is that, like I said, those orcs over here are not 5 wide. They're not looking to the left. They're actually in horde formation with the left corner being where the orc is, and he did not think of that when he placed his hounds. So I'm going to have an interesting little flank I can do there. And on the right side, not really doing much. Really, he has these zombies to be slowing me down. I should be able to blitz them really quick once I get to them, but I need to get over there. So on my turn, I fail Animosity, and these dogs go and my Wolf Riders charge his Dire Wolves. And over here, like I said, this horde is going to charge the flank, which is great because then I can go and charge into the flank or overrun to the flank of the Hex Wraiths. Otherwise, over here, with my shooting, I was able to take down the corpse cart. I actually wanted to go after this Terrorgeist. I did like 3 wounds to it, but it was actually a scattering off rock lava that managed to kill the corpse cart, which isn't so bad. Over here, we did forget about the Tower of Blood, but basically it was a big whiff, which is probably because we forgot about the Tower of Blood. And so overall, he kills 2 of me, I kill 1 of him, and it's a draw. And I was kind of hoping to beat them and overrun and maybe get to the Terrorgeist or something just to slow them down. But yeah, otherwise, this is what I'm going to deal with. And over here, of course, I come over here, beat them, overrun, and how this is set up is, remember, those knights are really deep. They can't actually charge into me because I set them up so that they're on a front charge, and they can't do a front charge because they're blocked by those other skeletons. So, a little bit janky, a little bit sneaky, but that's how I do it. So otherwise, this is what the left flank looks like. The Black Orcs are going up to kind of do a little bit of threatening. Of course, the Trolls had to stay there. I had to spend most of my magic phase just dispelling that. I believe I also went for another spell. He just kind of stopped, but nothing really happened in the magic phase. Otherwise, here on the right, pretty much just pop all the building, giants moving up. I move my Wyverns so that they're 29 inches away from the Terrorgeist, so I don't need to worry about that. And then otherwise, I have my 2 hordes on the right trying to get to those zombies. Right away, one of my things I was kicking myself for is I really should have had the Wyverns flying more to the left flank. This right flank, I am going to overwhelm. The left flank, that's where the action is going to be. So really kicking myself as soon as I pass over the turn. So on his turn, what he decides to do here, which was really smart, was first of all, he's going to flank with the zombies, which I saw that coming, and I was like, well, you know, I'm sure I'm going to be okay. I should be able to beat them and hold. But then this vampire comes in, and he's a blender, and once you add all those kills in, yeah, I'm not going to be winning this anymore. So he starts doing some magic to put this fight in his favor, gets off 2 separate Doom and Darknesses, and yeah, it's one of those things where I realize, yeah, I'm going to lose. I just might as well eat that magic as well. Otherwise, over here, he makes a charge with his Spirit Host to my Giant and fails. And then over here, to kind of even help it even more, he has the Terrorgeist coming over. So the Terrorgeist scream, they do some damage to me, but really it's overkill. I mean, I'm going to lose this fight, and then he's going to be able to run me down. Otherwise, over here, he screams at the Wolf Riders over here and kills them all. On the left here, he doesn't want to pursue, but he fails a lot of leadership tests, and he runs me down. But you can see where he kind of ended up. I did do 1 wound to the vampire. I was hoping to kill him, but now I can try and kill him with a Doom Diver or something. I can flank those zombies. This is, again, where I wish the Wyvern was over here, so I'd have something better to deal with those Hex Wraiths. But the number one thing that I like that happened here is that his Terrorgeists are actually kind of pinning in the Black Knights and the vampires, so I can really use that to my advantage. Otherwise, over here, not too much. Zombies kind of move more backwards than anything, and that's all that's happening over here. So on my turn, I decide to start doing some killing. So I have the Biggins with the shields go into the dire wolves. I try charging both the savages and the giant into the one unit of zombies, but the savages don't make it. Otherwise, on this side, I go into the flank of the zombies. That should be an easy win. I failed animosity with the wolf riders, so they had to charge in, but I was trying to charge in with the wyvern too, because that one there has the what is that one there? He has some magical weapon. That's all that matters. I believe he's the one with the fencer blades, or is that the one with the sort of anti-heroes? Either way, if he got in there, that would really help the battle, but I failed to charge, and I'll have to deal with it now. So my shooting and magic was really a complete mess. Threw a handful of dice at my Foot of Gork, failed to cast, and then all my war machines either misfired or scattered 10. And so in the end, did nothing. I was really hoping to kill the Terrorgeist on the left, that was the wounded one, and kill that vampire, and in the end, I did absolutely nothing. So otherwise, of course, the zombies really got their butt kicked, but it wasn't quite enough. There's 3 left, and the way that I placed myself here is, again, being kind of sneaky, where the way that this is going to line up is that he could charge some stuff into me, but in order to get the Night Bus in, he would have to charge the Terrorgeist. If the Terrorgeist charges in, there's no room for the bus. So I'm fine with a Terrorgeist coming in. Otherwise, on the right side, he beats up my wolves, but I hold, and I move up the giant to the spirit host. I really should have charged it, but wasn't really thinking. Meanwhile, I can see there I beat up the dogs and overran into the flank of the zombies. Of course, I yelled and bawled, of course, because that's the dumbest thing to do. So I only win by 2, and 2 guys crumble. And otherwise, you can see the other biggins are just moving up to try and pressure on those white zombies. Alright, so on his turn, this was devastating. This is one of those things that's going to happen when you're up against Manfred, and what he does is he casts the Purple Sun, sends it through, and he's able to kill 1 wolf, 5 trolls, that war machine that was there, the rock lava, 1 of the wolves, and also kills Gorbad. And this is just a massive, massive blow, because now the trolls, they're just basically useless, and that really, really hurts. However, he decides to be a gentleman, and he says, you know what, I don't even know what Gorbad does, and I want to learn. So let's just not turn this game into a flip-flop. Let's just pretend you passed your initiative test and just put him back. So that made me, that was a really nice thing for him to do, although I did feel like more of a jerk, because last game I killed his general first turn, and I offered no such terms. So really humbling. He's definitely would score higher sportsmanship points than me, and hey, we still got a game to watch. So otherwise, he comes over here, and Terrorgeist yells at my Wyvern and kills it, so that's going to really hurt. I really thought the Leadership 10 would keep me alive, and I really needed that Wyvern character here to get in there and kill the Hex Wraiths, because those guys are just in my way. By the way, I forgot to say that the Purple Sun also killed my other Wyvern Rider and Wyvern, so out of my 2 Wyverns, I just got 1 War Boss left. So, yeah, really painful turn. So otherwise, the left flank looks like this. The 1 Terrorgeist went down to yell at a Doom Diver. Only did 2 wounds, so I got kind of lucky there. The other one came over to yell at Black Orcs. I killed those 3 and then just decided to turn around to look at the Terrorgeist. But the reason why I did that is because initially I thought I had him. In his magic phase, I burned my scroll to stop Van Hells, because what I wanted to do was to beat those 3 zombies, reform slightly to get a little bit closer, charge those skeletons, kick their butt, then overrun into the flank of his bunker that has all of his big characters. He was very smart, and when he won the fight with his Hex Wraiths, he reformed to block me. So I gave up on that plan. Luckily, I did the Black Orc fight last, so I'm going to go for Terrorgeist instead. Otherwise, over here, really crappy picture, but really, what it really comes down to is I beat up some zombies, and again, those biggins there are just going to turn around. I could go for the skeletons, but screw them, they're not really that dangerous. I want to get rid of this Terrorgeist. So on my turn, I have some bad luck. One of these units here fails animosity, decides to pick a fight with the other unit, and normally the nice thing about Gorbad is that he adds his remaining wounds to your animosity rolls, so normally this doesn't come up, but even with 18 inches, that doesn't cover the whole 8x4 board, and so whereas I thought those white zombies were dead, they're going to get a turn off. Otherwise here on the left side, Black Orcs are going to go into that one Terrorgeist. The trolls charge in, and I try and get in that character as well, but the character fails the charge. So really it's just a bunch of stupid trolls waiting to die. And yeah, the giant goes into that spirit host, and I'm hoping to roll 1s or 3s. And of course over here, I'm going into the rear of the Terrorgeist, and I should be able to beat that thing up and then turn back around. And then the giant was supposed to charge into the skeletons, but I failed the charge. I needed like a 7 or something, so it wasn't like guaranteed. It was just a coin flip. So after it's all done, I am able to, first of all, in the magic phase, get off the re-rolls to hit, so that's going to make it a little bit less tempting for the Night Bus to go in, but honestly, if they did, they'd probably kick my butt anyway. But what happens there, of course, I kill the Terrorgeist. My shooting doesn't really do very much. By the way, because I was unable to kill that character, he just ran right back to the bunker there. But otherwise, he beats up some of my trolls. I'm steadfast. He whiffs on my giant, so he crumbles by 1. And over here, what happens is I beat up the Terrorgeist, no problem, and then I realized, oh right, the Tower of Blood gives me Frenzy, so now I had to overrun and bump into that building, kind of showing my rear to those skeletons. So on his turn, those skeletons are going to hit my rear, and at first I was like, oh man, I can't believe this is ridiculous. But then I realized, wait a second, I got biggins with Hatred and Frenzy. Sure, I'm only going to have like 8 of them attacking, but that's a lot of wounds, and I could actually do okay here. Over here, he actually decides to charge these skeletons into my Black Orcs. I don't think this was the right idea. I think maybe, like I said, I think his character buzz could have actually crushed me even with the rerolls. And really, I'm just going to kind of kill these skeletons for free. So yeah, like I said, poof, in a mist, all those skeletons died. The Terrorgeist did come up to yell at me, and I'm ready to go after it. Otherwise, he beats up my trolls. I'm still steadfast. He does a wound to my giant. I'm stubborn. Can't remember what happened in his magic phase here. He does have some really strong magic phases, but for the most part, I'm able to kind of handle them because what he normally does is tries to raise up or something like that, and I'm able to stop the worst of the spell. So really, so far, other than that one purple sun, I've been getting off pretty good. Otherwise, over here, it's kind of like I said. Actually, again, something else that surprised me is that the zombies tried to charge, and they failed to charge. So again, it probably was a mistake, but I mean, these guys are dead anyway. And yeah, actually, he goes after my biggins here in the rear, and I beat him. So I beat up his skeletons, turn around to face them, and now they're really in trouble. Over here, I charge in, or I want to charge in, but the problem is that the way that things have gone, I'm now in a front charge, and because of my troll is there with just kind of hanging over a bit, I can't actually charge in. So this guy with his fencer blades could have really made a mess of those hex wraiths, but a little bit of mistake on my part. Otherwise, over here, it's Operation Overkill, and I'm just going to be tag teaming on these zombies. Over here, going into the Terrorgeist, and it's going to be a super easy fight. And once this is all done, this is what it looks like. So on the left side, I'm able to destroy the Terrorgeist, go into the flank here. Now again, I didn't really want to go into the flank. If I could have had a choice of overrunning and not hitting them, I would have. The The problem is if I stayed where I was, he'd be able to charge me. And the reason why I don't want to fight him is that he still has all those characters. So, yeah, 4 or 5 Blender Lords, you just can't beat that. By the way, oh, actually, the character I did wound before died because he had a miscast that did a wound to his wizards, and that killed him there. But otherwise, yeah, I kind of still am holding barely with my trolls. The war boss is just repositioning so he can charge in next turn. And yeah, you can see on the right side, just beat up those skeletons, 7 or so left, and the zombies completely went poof. So whereas I was thinking this game was going downhill really fast, it is quickly turning around. So in his turn, you can kind of see here as the characters come to the side. But one thing that's really going to help me is that he is going to be he's going to be getting a miscast again on a silly little spell. But again, strength 6 hit to all the wizards, and that's going to wound almost all the characters. So really, the way I see this fight is that he will win combat, and he will run me down. But the big thing I have going for me is if I can kill all these characters, I can make it worth it. And this miscast really helped that. So after that was done, it kind of went okay. I killed the BSB, I killed the Vampire Lord, but I failed on the other 2 guys. So didn't really get my worth there. He runs me down. I lose a lot of points, so that's not great. The trolls are no longer steadfast, but they're still holding because, yay, leadership 10 general with reroll. Giant is holding, skeleton is dead, and he's just kind of facing the 2 angry giants. So on my turn here, I'm finally able to charge in this war boss, and really looking forward to killing all these hex wraiths. However, the way it kind of goes is that when you kill guys from a unit, you have to kill them equally from either side. And so when you do that, all of a sudden my war boss is no longer in combat. So that kind of sucks. If I actually would have had fewer trolls in combat, I could have reformed so that I could have actually been in there. But the way it perfectly lined up is I could not reform to allow the war boss to still be there. So he just reformed to kind of face him. And overall, it looks like this. So War Machine's trying to beat up on the Knight unit, hoping to get some points there. The Giant, I kind of realized that although the Giant was kind of trying to threaten him, the odds are not in my favor. And I'm starting to think this will be a close enough game that I just cannot risk giving up 200 points on a gamble. So the Giant just runs to the flank again just to threaten. So on his turn, he gets off a Purple Sun, but rolls a misfire. I'm so close with the Giant that he actually kills the Giant, even with the misfire, but he also rolls a 6, and Manfred dies. So this is huge. It's so many points, plus he's going to crumble. But how could I let that go through? I mean, after he kills me early, kills Gorbad early, and lets me go back to life, I had to say, you know what, buddy, an eye for an eye, I got to give it to you as well. So he's back alive, and yeah, that's... I wish he was dead, but I mean, how could I sleep at night if I didn't give it to him? It does do lots of damage, though, because, sorry, he also gets another Purple Sun, because he has 2 Death Wizards, and one's a Lore Master, and whatever, so, yeah. The second Purple Sun is not able to kill the War Boss, does kill... Sorry, no trolls. Maybe kills... I don't think so. But anyway, the main thing is that it gets to Gorbad, and this time Gorbad dies. So, second time dying to a Purple Sun. No takesy-backsies this time. And that's really bad, because now my trolls are going to break. So, with further magic, because, of course, he gets, like, tons of dice back, he is able to kill off the other war boss, so another big chunk of points there, too. His knights come in, which were a little bit surprising, but, of course, he beats my trolls. They're on double ones. They break, and this turn right here, everything fell apart. Whereas I thought I could hold on and I'm going to get a small win, no, this is going to completely swing the other way, and, if I don't pick up some points, that's it. So the Giant is going to charge in the rear here, hoping he's going to be foolish and send somebody back for me to kill. But he doesn't. He's smart. War Machines into the Knights don't do enough to do anything. and that's the game. So there you go. When we added it all up, it was actually a lot closer than I thought. I mean, right from the start, it's like, we can add it up, but I'm pretty sure you got it by a good margin. But turns out he was only up ahead by about 250 points. So either way, a victory to the Vampire Count player. And what can I say? He played a very strong game. He built a very good list. He made very few mistakes. And really, the very powerful thing that he put together is that normally if I see a Death Star Knight thing with Orcs and Goblins, it's easy. I'm going to put a Gork it, I'm going to hit it with Doom Divers, and I'm going to put a rock in the general's head, and that's just a bajillion points. And even if you get to me, go get him Trolls, go get him Black Orcs, this is easy. But when you expand it past to 5,000 points, you can make it big enough that I really have to dedicate a lot over several turns to take it out. And meanwhile, he has such a strong magic phase. I mean, he has it so he can re-roll one of his dice. He has, what was it, like 7 channels or something crazy. So he always had tons. He had a whole thing where he's saving 2 dice every time. So with that, and with almost all those vampires having Invocation, he can raise those knights up no problem. So very tough. I mean, a lot of times too, it's like, well, my weapons, my magical weapons are only in my Wyverns. So if I dedicate them, his triple Terrorgeist will just screen me off. So it was a very interesting game, lots of fun, and also one that was interesting to see just with how kind he was, really, where he killed Gorbad early. And I can't stress enough, if Gorbad dies that early, it's a very different game, because all of a sudden my trolls are just going to be, broken through right away, and my whole center just collapses. Those trolls staying where they were really trapped the knights where they were. So that just, and hey, I mean, the last game, it could have been the same thing too, right? I had the opportunity where I could have said, oh, keep your Vampire Lord, but I wasn't like that. I was Valorian, the power gamer, no mercy, gah, I get the win. And it was kind of humbling, and yeah, just a lot of times I like feeling like I'm one of the nice gamers, but it's really clear when you see stuff like this. I almost never see anyone. It's like, oh, I killed your general with Purple Sun, put it back, it's okay. It's like, well, okay, So either way, he should have had the win, and then it turned out to be a win for him anyway. So double props to my opponent, and thanks for watching. Bye.